the special address.
Honorable Vice Chancellor Shri Ji, Jitendra Ji, and Bhagat Ji, and my dear entrepreneur friends. So see, here we are to celebrate what we have done in Haryana for startups. But I would like to, except here I don't like this word startup at all. And I'm going to tell you why I personally don't like this word startup. To really explain this, let's comparatively study the typical life cycle of so-called startup in America, China versus India. So what happens in America? So there is one guy in college, writes some code, creates some social network, and then he runs around to get the money. There's some guy in the college, creates a search engine, he runs around to get the money. But during that time, he runs most of his thing from the college, all that infrastructure. So suddenly somebody says, now man, you are clogging my network, get out of it. So somebody writes the check to him. He goes there in Silicon Valley with that check, and it gets burned up very fast. So I remember Google when they went to Sequoia for first time this thing, and it's in one of the documentary when Mr. Khosla was seeing that, and they showed the engine, because that time the Excite, Yahoo, you need to go to physics, then thermodynamics, and then you need to search something. And these guys just wrote some keyword and everything was in front of you. So, but these guys were adamant. They said, no, we'll not have any ads on the front page. So Khosla said, okay, then still we are giving you the funding. So there was one guy, he asked them, man, what is the revenue model? There is no revenue model here. So he said, man, these guys have solved the problem. And if you don't know how to do business out of it, then we should not be in the business. And they funded them. These guys created that idea of, the idea started of Google is like this, that they went to their teacher and they said, if you want the search engine to work faster, we should copy complete internet on our local systems. And their teacher said to them, yeah, go copy. And they started copying on their small PC in their dorm. And they realized, oh, internet is so big, we cannot copy it. But they continued with the same idea. Even today, Google runs, the complete search index is there on their stack. And what we get by typing just immediately as if it was on our machine, it's because they continued to pursue the same idea of copying complete internet on their machines. So they get the fund, they start that, they solve the problem, they grow everything in the value chain, right from hardware, everything. And today, in this past 20 years, Google is $875 billion asset. And they are influencing almost everything. This is what happens to Jeff Bezos. He starts with an online bookstore. And these guys were all focused on making bookstore. And I remember in 2005 or 2006, when Jeff Bezos, people used to say in Amazon, Jeff Bezos gone mad. He said, no calling database directly, you need to call through API. So all over the world in Amazon, people were writing code to call through API, hardware. Even if you want to access hard disk, call through API. And then within 2 years, they rolled out AWS S3 services. They had the biggest data centers, and today in OTT they control everything. In fact, every house they are in now. And they influence the economy big time. They are bigger than the BRICS GDP. So that happens to American startup. This is same thing happened to Alibaba, Tencent, SoftBank. It started with small apps like WeChat, and today they are. What happens to Indian startup? So what if a guy comes, leaves his job, he shows, yeah, I'm going to become an entrepreneur now. He starts a startup. Then he forgets about building his product. And he starts building the PowerPoints for the VCs and all, running around money. Then he gets the money. The guy who gives the money, he says, man, 10x, 5x, 10x. So it's like a child labor. And every nascent idea, you're asking them, start making money. So it's like I asking my kid, man, you have to earn from today. No spending on your education, nothing. So he struggles. He whatever money he gets, he spends only on building business, only on building PowerPoints, raising more money. And somewhere in the world, in America, China, people are happy watching this guy growing business. Finally, you're going to give it to us. And then our guy sells it off and then starts the startup again. So that's a typical lifestyle. So we need to understand why in India, start like startup, struggle like startup, and die like startup. And that is the reason I don't like this word startup. Because entrepreneurship is all about business. Doing business seriously. And business is all about revenue. Business is all about when you build it, you're not going to leave this legacy, and you need to sustain this legacy for the generations. And I remember, I'm a very big fan of Jack Ma. I've read almost everything about Jack Ma. So I remember when eBay was really trying to buy Alibaba that time, and Jack Ma said, and I quote, "We are crocodile in Yangtze River. If we fight in the ocean, we will lose. But if we fight in the river, we will win." And these guys, eBay had to shut shops in China. That is the spirit they work with. And I remember one of the founder of one of our startups, when it got the investment from the Jack Ma, and he said, "Mere paas maa hai." So that is how we live, and we need to understand why this problem is. Why we are not really able to build the businesses like Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, Alibaba. And the reason is, because these people, when they were doing business, when Alibaba were doing business, they put forth national interest first, their national economy first, and their business second. That's where their business interests were safeguarded. And if you see, Alibaba, however good the American technology would be, but they created their cloud on Huawei. They built their ecosystem on Huawei, and that's why they are today scaring Jeff Bezos. When Jeff Bezos were making, they built their own infrastructure, they built their own ecosystem, while our entrepreneurs were only busy making PowerPoint and the Surface software. And in the world, there is no business like software. There is no business as software, it's all hardware business. You write software to make hardware consume. We forget that and we get into that mindset. And I was trying to dwell why this is the case. And there is one essay by Shri Aurobindo, The Bourgeois and the Samurai. Okay, it was written many decades back, but it holds even today the truth. And I'll read exactly the words which Shri Aurobindo has said, because that explains why we are like this and why in our ecosystem, it's such a big market. India is such a big market, but still our founders missed the opportunity to become the Jack Ma. Why? And this is how he says, Shri Aurobindo, "Two Oriental nations have come powerfully under the influence of Western ideas and felt the impact of European civilization during the 19th century, India and Japan. The results have been very different." So Japan has a soft bank now. Okay. Why has Japan so admirably transformed herself? Why has the attempt at transformation in India been a failure? The solution of problem of this kind has to be sought not in abstractions, not in machinery, but in men. It is the spirit in man which molds his fate. It is the spirit of nation which determines his history. It is the samurai type which has been dominant in that country during the 19th century. In India, the mass of the nation has remained dormant. European culture has had upon it a powerful disintegrating and destructive influence, but has been powerless to reconstruct or revivify. This type is bourgeois. In India, the bourgeois. In Japan, the samurai. In this single difference is comprised the whole contrasted histories of the two nations during the 19th century. And then he further quotes, he gives the definition of bourgeois. He says, what is bourgeois? For the word is known in India, though the thing is so prominent. The bourgeois is the average contented middle class citizen. He is a man of facile sentiments and skin-deep personality. Not my words, Shri Aurobindo's word. Generally enlightened, but not inconveniently illuminated. So he is enlightened. He makes a good PowerPoint. He tells how 10x revenue can be done. But then he is not illuminated that, man, 10 years you will be working hard and then you will be thrown out of this. After that, once you grow the business. So he is not inconveniently illuminated. In love with his life, his ease, and above all the things, his comforts, he prescribes the secure maintenance of this precious possession as the first indispensable condition of all actions in politics and society. Whatever tends to disturb or destroy them, he condemns as foolish, harebrained, dangerous, or fanatical, according to the degree of its intensity, and is ready to repress by any means in his power. And if you see in the technology, it is prominent across sectors, but I'll speak more about the technology. Who's this bourgeois here? So the CIO and CTOs of our companies are the biggest bourgeois. They will explain you when you are growing the startup why VMware is very necessary to grow rather than really coming up with something what Facebook did. They built their code base on PHP, and PHP was an interpretation model. But they knew that since we have a code base on PHP, we need to make it faster because we need a planet scale. They wrote a compiler of PHP. They created an open compute project so that they have a cheaper hardware to scale for this bigger thing, a hardware which consumes less power. And today they are able to serve such a big geographies, such a big population, and it just comes as if it was there in your machine. So they knew right from the beginning that this is what is important. But our CIO will tell you, no, VMware is important. So one of the very prominent businessman of our country in recent AGM of their house, business house, said data is a new oil. So they are getting into the database business, the data center business. They're spending 70,000 crores. What did they do? And he's not at fault. It's the CIO, it's the CTO who told them, hey, let's go with Microsoft Azure. So the data is new oil. New oil is free in my country. It will be given to Microsoft. They will monetize it. So that is the mindset we come with. That's not a samurai mindset. And that's why Japan is such a small country, because I think the geography is smaller than Haryana. They do it. They do it. In India, we as a country, we fail our country by saying when it comes to electronics manufacturing, we say, it's high scale, we will not be able to do it, there's a lot of investment required. And Maurice Chang, when he was called in Taiwan, such a small country, he was called in Taiwan by one of the ministers there. He said, we have to do something here. So he said, in semiconductor. Okay, yes, semiconductor. So at that time, the minister used to send him to the industrialist. He used to give them presentation that because 30% equity was given by the government and 70% he had to raise for TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So whenever he'll give the presentation, the industry will say, yeah, this is good, but I don't understand this, so I'll not invest. So he used to go back to the minister, he used to tell them that, man, semiconductor, nobody understands in Taiwan. He said, he'll call back the industry and say, 20 years we allowed you to do business here, now give the money here. This is how they raise 70%. It's not, it's Maurice Chang confessed this in one of the YouTube channels there. So, and they raise the 70%. Today, in every device we hold in our hand, it's TSMC's presence there. So they have 95% market share in the world. So when they can do it, why we cannot do it? And you know, in Intel, almost all the places, if you see, it's Indians who are sitting there. So from I3 to I4, I5, I7, it's only Indians who have cut that chips. Okay, and then it is cut there, TSMC. So the mindset, the man, the spirit of the man which decides the fate of the country, and we don't have anything in India. So no devices are being manufactured, nothing. Data is gold, we'll give our gold free, okay? And so there's this CTO kindly comes, sir, data center Gurgaon mein hai. अरे भाई अपना कुछ नहीं है उसमें, गुड़गांव में सिर्फ हमने लैंड ही दी है उसको, right? So when you are building your businesses, you should be aware about this fact, because you have left your job if to start the entrepreneurship, or you have taken the money from somebody. You need to value that, and unless you have your hands in complete value chain, you will not be able to safeguard your business interest. And you will be able to safeguard your business interest when you safeguard national interest, when you safeguard the national economy, and you come together as a cartel. Okay, so I was watching the serial Narcos recently, and I saw that to sell cocaine, you need to make such a strong cartel. So obviously, technology, we really need to do it. And I'll tell you, there's one, wherever there is a lost opportunity, that is the opportunity of an entrepreneur. And if you see the lost opportunity in India, it's huge. It's huge. Let's take telecom sector. So we were busy innovating packages, free data, everything, the infrastructure we bought it from somewhere else. And now what is happening? We are firing people in telecom sector. Right? Somalia also doesn't have such a bad rates for call and data. And we are the country, and are we really doing it to grow the industry? No, we are just growing it to grow somebody else's market. Our market, we are not doing business. We are such a stupid entrepreneurs. We are not doing business. So telecom sector, had it been that we would have innovated products here, we would have been telling about, 9G, 10G. It's all about creating a bubble, right? That's what Cisco does. That's what everybody does. So they created 5G bubble. Let's create some other bubble. But we'll have to innovate the infrastructure. We'll have to work there. And the telecom providers, if they had been financing, supporting these startups to innovate and create infrastructure out here, it would have been amazing, because we are such a big market. Okay? Telecoms, if that opportunity is not missed, we can still innovate, we can create a lot of things and build their pharmaceuticals. None of the API. So in Nagpur, I come from Nagpur, I have my four of friends selling paracetamol as their brand. They manufacture it in Batti. So the Batti guy gets that API, paracetamol API from the China, okay? And China is so happy. I have 4 people competing there as my salesman, my API is selling. And nobody, when we are happy that pharmaceutical is growing, pharmaceutical is growing. Even if it grows, it's not your business. It's somebody else's business. You're not serious about business. So that is a lost opportunity. I was sitting in one of the state committee meeting, and it was the guy who got some funding, but who gave the funding? Shell. Right? So core engineering, we're not doing anything. Obviously, then this business will not be with us. In technology, hardware, data center. So when Flipkart was growing, Paytm was growing, OYO was growing, none of the data centers are with us. Every data center you go see the investment, gone. SoftBank, Tencent, they already knew, man, this is a big market. Grab the data centers, these businesses will come to us. They did it. And they did it in the past 15 years. Why can't we do it? So these are the lost opportunities, and we'll have to do this. If we innovate, we come as a cartel. It's not, don't think you as an application company, mobile app and all, don't limit yourself, because you're going to do the same hard work for growing that small app in this market, what it requires to become a Jack Ma. Jack Ma also did the same effort and became this big, but you need to do it as a group. So we as an Indian have one mindset, our socialism is really failing us. जब हमारा सोशलिज्म हमारे सामने खड़ा होता है तो हमको लगता है बिजनेस कर रहा है, गलत आदमी है. तो हमारे यहाँ तो हमको गलत आदमी पसंद नहीं है, तो हम इंडियन को बिजनेस करता हुआ नहीं देख सकते, तो हम किसको ढूंढते? हाँ, अमेरिकन कंपनी को ऑर्डर दे देंगे, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ठीक है, इंडिया में हमने कोई गलत आदमी नहीं तैयार किया ना, राइट? सो दिस इज व्हाट आवर कॉन्शियसनेस शुड start thinking about. Unless we safeguard our national interest, unless we safeguard our national economy, we will not be able to safeguard our business interest. So it is, even if you say yourself an entrepreneur, but if you sell your business after 10 years, you were only doing a high paying job for somebody else. So don't stop calling yourself entrepreneur. Either get back to the business, be serious about it, make a cartel of your people, see there are so many people doing it, what are their value add to your business so that you control the complete value chain. That's how the business should be grown, and you should be conscious about this fact. I'm telling you, if you ask the economist, because economist, if you say, he also falls in that same definition which Shri Aurobindo was talking about, bourgeois. So he will tell many reasons why Indian economy cannot be $5 trillion economy. And he's right, because he studied only books. He's not studied the future. Okay, so let's not listen to him. To make India $5 trillion economy, it's entrepreneurs' job, not politicians' job, not economists' job. They can only do the analysis. So it's our job to make it a $5 trillion economy, and that can happen, because if just Google, one asset is $875 billion in past 15 years, then you just need 20-25 such assets in India to grow. And when will it grow? When we really start looking at everything in the value chain as our own. It's our own market. Then we can do it. And the responsibility lies with us today, with entrepreneurs, because somebody said that Third World War will not be, it will not be guns or pistols and all. It will not be fought at the border. It will be trade war. It will be economic war, right? So if Third World War is happening, it's happening. The trade war you see, right? Everybody is conservative. Everybody is talking about their own business. When they have got the data, they say now data protection is important. Because they know, now let's stop everybody having data. We have a data, we will monetize it. So when this is what is happening, war is going on. So entrepreneur is a soldier then. For a country, who is a soldier then? Entrepreneur. If entrepreneur is a soldier, so are we going to do the same thing? Fight for Britishers in World War II? So are we going to fight for Americans and Chinese? Or are we going to safeguard and create our own business assets? So it is time we think this way. Unless we safeguard our national interest, we will not be able to safeguard our business interest, and it is very, very important. I'll tell you one thing which we should remember. So initial avatar of Vishnu's, when they came, so everybody came, one day, one man show. So Narsimha came, Parshuram came, and one day finished the job and go. Then Rama came in Treta. So he said, man, it won't work, I go. Even he could have gone and killed Ravana. But then he said, no, it won't work, I go alone and kill it. This growth will not be sustainable. So he went to Chitrakoot region. For 11 years, he has built the Chitrakoot region. He has actually given the self-esteem to the people there, Vanvasis. Okay, and then he took them. He created a Sangathan. He went there and then fought. Okay, then came Dwapar Yuga. So Krishna said, no, I'll not fight. You come together, fight. Okay, and he didn't fight at all. He was only riding the chariot. Now it's Kali Yuga, and Bhagavan is saying, I'm not going to go. Group together and fight. And unless you group together and fight, you create an app, it's of no use, rather go home, sleep. Group together, find out where all your business interests are safeguarded and national interests are safeguarded. Create the ecosystem. Unless you create the ecosystem, then whatever effort you are taking will go waste, will go in vain. So come together. This is Kaliyug, Kaliyuge Sangatana Shakti. That's what is being said. So we need to follow this. We need to bother about this. And in Haryana, in coming next 3 years, 4 years, while we are building this ecosystem, because I'll not disclose a lot of things out here, but as you say, Shivaji never came to kill Afzal Khan in the open ground. He said, you come to Raigad, we'll see there. And 2 people killed him. Okay. So in Haryana, we'll not give you incubation space. We'll not give you all these useless things. Your data is really a gold. And we will give you space to hold your data. We are creating that ecosystem. Will help you connect with us if you really want to have your business, leave the legacy for this country, have your business contribute to the national economy and really increase its size, then talk to us, we'll be able to help you there. I'll finish this thing with one thing, and I'll say that in Hindi. So, भारत भूमि का वैभव बढ़ाने का काम विष्णु का काम है. अगर आप भारत भूमि का वैभव बढ़ाने के लिए मेहनत कर रहे हैं तो ये काम विष्णु का है. और जो विष्णु का काम करेगा, महालक्ष्मी उसके साथ है. तो for entrepreneur, he should be very serious about the Lakshmi ji, and that's how I want you to think that your consciousness should not support anything which really not allowing you to do business. Just saying startup is not going to help us. And stop calling yourself a startup. Don't remain startup. Be a unicorn and be an entrepreneur. Thank you.